Hello, this is David, your Historical Expeditionary, and I'm going to go on a bit of a rant today, so I hope you'll excuse me. Feel free to shoot me a message, tell me I'm right, tell me I'm wrong. But what I'm going to be talking about today is parenting and children in history. I had a tour yesterday. It was set up by a woman. Well, it was set up by a woman's assistant, personal assistant set it up, and she said she had researched and she saw that I had the best reviews, and that she wanted me to do the tour because her clients' children were very eclectic. What she said specifically was the client had an 8-year-old who you had to be very cognizant of the child's interest level, because there might be things that weren't interesting to them, and you have to move on from that in that circumstance. So, okay. So, in other words, if the kid's not into the Declaration of Independence, we chuck that, or slavery, not an interest to the 8-year-old, then we delete slavery from the presentation, and we make sure that we're able to adapt to this 8-year-old's needs of the moment. And this is not an unusual request for me to hear. I'm trying to imagine my mother calling a guide and saying, please make sure and cater everything to my 8-year-old. I really don't think that would have happened, but not unusual in today's world. So anyway, I meet the people. Kids are very nice kids. And I talk to them over at the Philadelphia Visitor Center, which is at 6th and Market Street. I walk up 1 block to Chestnut with them. We go 1 block to the left, and then we go inside Independence Hall, and we see their presentation, which includes they sit in the chairs for 10 minutes as they do an opening discussion, and then we stand and we see 2 different things. So then we walked out of there, and as soon as we walk out the door, the 8-year-old says, my legs are tired. Okay, he's 8 years old, and he's walked 2 blocks. He walked 1 block up, 1 block to the left. I'm 54, I walk for 6 hours a day. Kyle's 60. But the 8-year-old, he was exhausted. Now, any parent out there knows what's going on. Kids, if they're not getting exactly what they want, often will be either hungry or tired, right? They just ate, but they're hungry. Or they haven't walked, but they're tired. And that's just because they're not getting what they want, and either they do this purposely to manipulate events, or they're just, they don't know why they're doing it, but suddenly they're thinking that they're hungry or they're tired. And any parent says, and most parents I deal with, they say, you're fine, go on. But in this case, the woman said, well, can we go to a bench, and then you can talk to him on the bench, because his legs are sore. Okay. So we go to the bench, and I talk to the kid at the bench, and we, there's things we can't get to because walking, he's absolutely exhausted. It's been a difficult two blocks there. And so anyway, this is one of a lot of examples of these kind of things, and I just wonder if parents really understand what they're doing by catering so much to their kids' every little comfort. I'm driving to work today, and I looked at I looked across the street, and there's 5 kids, 11, 12, 13, that age, and all 5 parents are standing out there at the bus stop. And this is news to me that now kids, it's in the suburbs, safest place in the world. Nope, kids cannot wait for the bus anymore. Well, anything could happen anywhere. Yeah, anything could always happen anywhere. Statistically, things are no worse now than they ever have. They've been a lot worse in the past, of course. Now we get to see it on television if we want to abuse ourselves and see every video of every bad thing that happens. I mean, last night my wife was watching, and there's a story about someone who drove through people in California, and I'm just wondering, well, what are we gaining out of that? You know, Thoreau said that all news is gossip. He said, you know, once you've got the concept of murder, every murder story is gossip. Why do we need to know that somebody drove through a crowd of people in California? That it wasn't domestic terrorism. It's just somebody with mental health issues. Okay, well, it's just kind of making people so fearful of the world to get these little statistically insignificant incidents every night that everyone's just terrified to allow their children to grow up ever. And, you know, when my wife, she made sure that our son would take the train places. We would be there when they went in the train. Somebody's there when he gets off the train. He's got a cell phone. It is not the most dangerous, horrifying, scary thing in the world, but every other parent thought we were nuts because they were, I'm not putting my child on a train. A couple weeks ago, this woman tells me, you know, my kid, he wants to go to a restaurant where the people are dressed in colonial gear and everything. And I said, well, you're in luck. We have such a place. We have just such a restaurant, City Tavern, world famous. They cook everything, you know, from recipes from the 18th century. People are dressed in colonial outfits. He'll love it. And she says, all right, but here's the thing. They have to make chicken McNuggets. Can you have them make him chicken McNuggets? No, they're not going to give him fucking chicken McNuggets. Everything's from the 18th century. Well, he only eats chicken McNuggets. Well, has it occurred to you maybe to encourage him to try something new? To maybe do something different? Maybe test his abilities at adapting. No, she said, oh, well, we can't go there if they're not going to do chicken McNuggets. She said, well, do you think they would be willing to order from McDonald's and give him chicken? Come on, Pete. What is going on with you? What is going on with parenting? Someone on Facebook over Halloween wrote, oh, I showed my kids The Exorcist and they were bored in 2 minutes. This movie really doesn't wear well. No, it's not the movie. Your kids suck. Your kids suck. They need some villain jumping at them within the first 2 minutes of a movie, or they're bored and tired, and you let them get away with this attitude. You should know these people are going to be losers. They are not going to accomplish anything. They're probably not going to leave home till they're 40. People are not getting their children adapted to be able to deal with life. Now, there is nothing more exciting and thrilling than giving a tour to kids who are interested in the history and you know, feel the history. There's nothing better. It's why a lot of us do this. And I've had such great experiences with kids. And of course, I see a lot of tremendous parents. And, you know, I remember once I was giving a tour to this girl, and she's just looking at me kind of blasé, and she's on her phone the whole time. And I thought, boy, you know, that's obnoxious that the parent lets the kid do this. Let's be clear. I'm really ranting about the parents. I am not ranting about the kids. Kids are kids. But anyway, the dad comes up to me about halfway through and he says, listen, I don't want you to feel insulted. She's writing down everything you're saying. And I looked, and sure enough, she was like a court stenographer who kind of leaves her body and just types everything. So, you know, I've had fantastic experiences with children, and there's nothing more exciting when that happens. But it is not the job of me or your teachers or history in general to mold itself so that it is immediately interesting and understandable to a child who is not listening or interested or going to make an attempt. I mean, all teaching is going to be a two-way street. And with some of these kids, I really feel for the teachers out there. I don't know how they can handle it when these children have been taught by everything, by every level of society, that it is the job of society to bring everything down to that child's level and make it immediately entertaining and understandable for that child. Because I don't know how these children are going to adapt to adulthood. I don't know how they're going to deal with struggle if they can't walk 3 blocks. And if they're going to have parents that are going to cater to them in whatever they need. It's tough enough for the teachers out there. It's tough enough for them to be able to teach these kids. And there's some great teachers, some terrible teachers who just teach based on what the textbook is and don't really know. But there's great teachers. But the greatest teacher in the world isn't going to be able to teach a kid who is lazy and not listening and not caring. There's only so much that can be done. And those are my thoughts on this particular subject. So anyway, at the moment I am driving out to Connecticut because I'm going to be meeting a group of kids, and I'll talk to you about that tomorrow. I've been to this school a couple times before, and it's always been a fantastic experience for me. I hope it's going to be a fantastic experience for them. And I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks.